Every time I see a bumper sticker saying I'm proud of my honor roll student at, one of them was like, I'm proud of my honor roll student at Our Lady of Humility,
Our Lady of
which
Humility.
was the funniest thing ever. But I'm like, I want to have a bumper sticker to slap underneath it and go, proud is one of the 7 deadly sins. Anyway, sorry.
So naughty.
Humorous one. This one's called Ex-Boyfriends Become Goldfish.
Goldfish?
Yes.
Whoa.
I've always tried to care for others. I don't know, maybe it's why in my studio one-room apartment I kept a 6-inch snifter and a pet goldfish or 2. Because really, if I had to live in that small of a place, I can at least get a goldfish, and since I like my liquor, I could let it live in a liquor glass. What a bargain. Since I had no money, and I'd go to the giant pet store and splurge on a 20-cent feeder fish for pets. And no, I wouldn't get too close with the fish replaced with a single coin. But it always made me sad when they died. I brought them home to be with me. I spared them the hunt from a hungry predator. I entered their lives, and I was trying to, be noble. But when I saw how cruel the world was, and when I saw how my irreplaceable fish would die, I decided right then and there to name my feature fish after ex-boyfriend. Just so when the time came, I could say, oh, Toby's dead, flush.
Yeah.
Oh, Bill's dead. He was a fat fish, flush. Oh, Steve's dead, flush. Oh, Matt's dead. He was an angry fish. Never seemed happy in that bowl, flush.
Whoa.
It may seem a sad state, and to use this to cope with pain, but this was my first chance to be able to smile at death. And it's not like the fish even cared. And the exes never knew. I've got to find my spot. A guy named Rich Experience is in town from Chicago, and he has a guitar, and he played last week at Kick Butt, and he's going to be there tomorrow as well. So I'm going to ask him to play while I read this piece called I Want. I want a big house with filtered central air, and I want a big lawn so I can recreate nature. And I want a big fence so I'll know what's mine. And I want the Everglades trimmed into neat little balls because everything has to look neat. Plant everything in a row. And I want to spray chemicals on my lawn to keep the dandelions away. And I want a big plastic lobster bib over my fancy dress at the fancy restaurant. And don't forget the $100 champagne. And I want a big fat car, and I want someone else to drive it. And I want the 2 kids, 1 boy, 1 girl, and I want a nanny to take care of them for me. I want to be famous. I want everyone to love me. I want it all.
Yeah.
This is what I'm thinking. This is something that I'm going to be reading for the June is a Woman feature on June 3rd, and this is called Echo in My Mind. The thoughts of these women, the visions of these women, the legacies of these women, they echo in my mind. I think of the woman who, in her youth, led armies to battle and saved her country. And for this, she was burned at the stake, because she was a woman and she had beliefs. I think of the woman who wore a black dress as the bride to her wedding. And no, it's not because she's goth like me. It's because she had work to do and she didn't want to get her white wedding dress dirty. And yeah, she had work to do. She was discovering things scientists take for granted now. She was discovering things no man had yet to wrap his head around. I think of the woman who lived in a time where she wasn't allowed a higher education. So she studied for free, and she worked for free, made amazing scientific discoveries until she escaped Germany days before Adolf Hitler would have put her in a concentration camp. She carried a friend's diamond ring while trying to escape in case she needed to bribe someone to allow her to pass. And her drive, her work, gave the world Nobel Prize-winning collaborations, despite the efforts of the Third Reich, and despite a patriarchy all her life that thought, she's just a woman. She doesn't need to learn. I think of the woman who was in the first wave of women allowed to have a higher education. But still, she left her communist home, searching for freedom. She started a life on the other side of the earth because after what she learned, she knew that understanding philosophy could really set her free. I think of the woman born not far from my home. She studied music, but wanted to share her story of life as a woman with the rest of the world. And through her journey, she stayed with the tribe where prisoners armed with lawnmower blades broke out of their jail cell, while she was only able to wonder, wait, and listen out into the jungle. During her travels, she took mail airplanes until she was dropped off as far as she could before trying to complete her solitary journey to the North Pole. As an artist in residence for NASA, she learned how men, during the Cold War, thought of setting off nuclear bombs on the dark side of the moon.
Really?
Of course, only a man would think of doing that. Once she was at a protest about the economic exploitation of women and their treatment of women as animals, giving flyers of images of chicks, bunnies, foxes, and pussycats. And she even said that for every dollar a man makes, a woman makes 63 cents. Now, 50 years ago, that was 62 cents. So, with that kind of luck, it'll be the year 3,888 before we make a buck. And I think about what these women say, and I think about what these women mean. And like they say, I could just go on and on and on, but tonight, I've got a headache.
Oh, Roxanne.